originality, don't you? Hell yeah! Welcome for the first time to our Quebec radio show Prescription Punk Rock. For people that don't recognize your beautiful hair, your beautiful face, your beautiful voice, who the hell are you?
Hello, I'm Michigan. I'm from Crimson Vale, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's so cool. Kristen Vale, it's such a great project. I love originality. I love things that are different. I know a lot of people getting older looking for nostalgia, but I think that there's a new, um, people want something new, want to find different thing. And I think that that project is at the right time and the right place. But for people that unaware of the story of the band, how that crazy idea started up.
So Crimson Vale came out of another band. We used to be a project called Bird Eats Baby that went on for a very long time, but the project became more progressive and metal. And then with this current lineup, we started making really, really brutally heavy tunes. And then we decided to that it was kind of break away from this, and the next evolution would be a full metal evolution, and that's why we started the new project, and we decided just a clean break from there. It's very exciting to just start something kind of new, so we're kind of a new band, but we've also been around, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, a kind of new start, but I love it. You embrace something totally different, and I think that our as human, as artists, as we grow up, we kind of have a different view of the music of what we create, and sometimes where you did something back when you were younger and you're stuck with it, there's a line to follow, and sometimes it's cool to get out of that line and create something different. Is it more hard with time to create, or is it something that it's kind of easy because of the chemistry?
Yeah, it's a really good question, actually. Like, I think as you go on writing music, your tastes do change and you take on so much more. But to be honest, I love writing now. I find it a lot more freeing than I used to when I was younger. I used to write and really, really worry so much about the content of what I was writing, and is it good, and is it this, and should I say this and should I say that, and it was always had to be quite controlled. These days, I just write for fun. I write from a place where it just feels a lot more free, and I really, really now love writing with other people. Collaborating for me and in this band is the strength of the band, like I love working with other musicians, and this makes writing so easy because you just bounce all these crazy ideas off each other, and then you say, okay, let's go with this song, and you end up coming up with something that's bigger than all of you. This is the most exciting way to write. So I'm kind of happy that like I'm not trying to control the songs anymore, and now it's just this kind of massive chaotic kind of expression. It's great.
And how much it's changed the style of writing, and how much it impacts the vision of songwriting to work with others and see other angle.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. Like I've been writing songs for a really, really long time, but with this current lineup, it's an interesting way to write because we're all into quite different music. Anna is really into progressive music. Hannah likes classical and pop. Gary is a jazz guitarist as well as like the main metalhead. And I like a lot of really weird avant-garde music and klezmer, and I love metal too. But really, where we all cross over is this kind of heavy, progressive metal music. That's where we all kind of find the similar space, and that's where we really started writing together for this project. And I think that's really clear with this music. You can hear that this is the first time that these influences are all coming together and working together.
It's cool because first of all, like I said, it's really original, and it brings something different, and that's what I love
Mm.
about metal. There are so many subgenre and style, and a lot of others cultural thing get in, and band are not afraid of creating. And I love when bands say,
Mm.
there's a lot of prog too. What was good about prog is that it was not perfect. The songs were long. It's like a jam, but it doesn't restrain their self, and that is why they create
Yeah.
such strong music and such songs that still have a lot of impact in bands. So when you put that collide with the new music, the new style of metal right now, it creates something that I love, and I think that you really find something that it's on your own signature.
Oh, I'm glad you think that. Yeah, we love meshing genres together. I mean, that's what I love about metal so much. That's why it's my favorite genre now, because it's just so much you can explore and so many different styles and subgenres, and it's just there's so many good bands in metal. It's just incredible. I feel like right now, even there's just so many new bands coming forwards and brilliant ideas, and it just gets deeper and deeper and more crazy. And I'm such a geek, all of us in the band, we're all such geeks. So yeah, we just really like love metal, and it's really fun to try and create your own corner in metal, even though it's been done so many times, so much metal.
Yeah, but you're right, and it's funny because our parents. I'm 42, but when I was a kid, they saw metal as a beast, a monster,
Yeah.
a corrupt child, and it's dangerous, and they're a tough guy.
Yeah.
But the reality
And
is, we're all
now
changed.
Gojira are opening the Olympics, and you're like, this is no longer that thing, really. It's pretty mainstream. Metal is definitely hitting the masses. It's fantastic.
Yeah, but it's the integrity of metal stay clear. We saw what happened, like Metallica at Face It, when it exploded and got so big. But right now, it's just cool. It's a good vibe, and there's way more people, and it's always getting bigger because you're free to be yourself and create whatever.
Mm.
And I think that like I said, like you said, it's really geek thing. Even when you spoke to a metalhead, like, so I like death metal, but not that much about prog, just a little bit. But
Yeah.
it need to be doom, and you're just like, wow, man. And yeah, and a lot of gamer and movie geek, and
Yeah,
yeah, I think
definitely.
it's uh, our generation define ourselves with the passion we have, not with the work we do, and it's just how we get the money to create and do something different. And I think that's why we're way more happy with what we do in our lives. So yeah, I think creating resolve a lot of problem.
Yeah, I agree with you, definitely. It sounds a lot like our conversations in our when we're touring, talking about types of metal and why it's the
Uh,
best thing.
I saw piano. I'm curious. Let's get back to when you were a kid. I'm curious how you start discovering music, and were there people around you that influence you into that quest journey? Parents, friends, or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can see I have a piano here, and there's another piano behind me. The piano behind me is actually my grandmother's piano. She's 100. She's still alive. It's crazy. And yeah, this was her piano, and she was my first musical influence. Actually, she was a Jewish lady. She is a Holocaust survivor. She came to the UK and married an Irish soldier, and then had my dad, and that's why I'm here. But she used to play the piano when we were kids, and she would play all this beautiful classical music. But she also played the accordion, which I didn't know about for a while until I picked up the accordion intuitively, and then she said, "Oh, I used to play that as well." So there was some kind of weird thing going on with me and my grandma. But yeah, so I learned how to play the piano. And then my parents were really into going to church every Sunday. So we would go and sing in the choir and play in the band. And for me, the whole experience was just the music. I was just obsessed with the music. I couldn't wait to go because the music was there. So wherever there was the music, that's where I was going. So I learned how to sing in church and play the piano. I played the organ, guitar, everything that I could do to, make myself be in that position where I could be playing the music. Yeah, so with my grandma and then the church, and then my dad had a huge record collection of quite a lot of rock music as well. So he had Queen, and Jimi Hendrix and the Beatles. So there was also some cool stuff as well as all the Jesus stuff, you know. And then it all kind of, you know, got an influence on me. And then when I was 15, I guess I started listening to heavier bands and rock music. I discovered Muse was one of my earliest influences, Lamb of God, and you know, a few other things. And then, you know, joined the dark side. And then yeah, I just started getting into alternative music, and all that influence came with me. But I think you can still hear it in the music. It's quite classical or choral. Maybe it's got some kind of church vibes to it still. I think you can hear it in my influence.
That's amazing. And how your parents you know, the switch when you start to love metal, you know, since they were Christian and sometimes they don't get that, you know, it's not you can be Christian in metal too.
Yeah, I mean, I think at first they were a little bit like unsure, but now they're very proud and they're very sweet people and very understanding, and they understand that you know I followed my dream from music, and they're very proud that I followed that dream of music. So I think they're just really happy for me that that's where I found my place. And, you know, for me as well, like, although I don't go to church anymore, I feel like it was a sort of, it was a good influence in my life to have all of that music and community kind of thing. It taught me a lot. So I don't like have any issues with that. So yeah, I feel quite lucky. I have a good relationship with them now. And, you know, I'd love for them to come to a show, but I think it might just be a bit too loud.
Yeah, but I relate to that. I grew up in Catholic school when we had a uniform, and it
Right.
was a sister that
Yeah.
teach us. So I grew up in that environment, still loving Iron Maiden in third grade. So yeah, my parents were
Intense.
still kind of afraid. They were not that Christians, but still they try to push us in the good direction. And Christianity is the
Yeah,
first road they think that you should
of
go. And
course.
I don't judge. It's personal, but yeah, I think that believing in something it really gets you through hard times and get you to
Mhm,
understand the universe we're into. But anyway,
mhm.
yeah, so I relate to that. Yeah, and then I remember like bringing the poster, and she was like, just one, and then like a couple 6 months later, the second one, just two,
Yeah, I
not
think
three.
I have this memory when you remember when we all started downloading MP3s, you know, and it was like, oh my God, streaming music was a thing. And my dad caught me downloading Cradle of Filth. I must have been like in my teens. I can't remember, but I didn't even know who Cradle of Filth was. It was purely on the band name. I was like, that is the best thing I've ever heard, Cradle of Filth, you know? So I was like downloading Cradle of Filth. My dad was like, we will not have this filth in our house. It was so funny. Like honestly, it was amazing. But yeah, that was a funny moment. But yeah, I think he's cool now. But yeah.
Yeah, when I brought Cradle of Field, my mother didn't like Iron Maiden, but it get her to like Maiden because she was like, "Oh, finally Maiden, it's not that bad." But that is the line that I no, 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 no. When I want to piss her off, I would blast like "Cruelty" and the Beast really loud, and after a
Yeah.
couple of minutes, she was knocking, and I was like, "Oh, that was a joke." I gonna put the headphone in. But that's amazing because it bring a lot of elements into the music and into the band. And I know, like you said, each individual has different background musically, but it really connect, you know. And I love when there's somebody that came from jazz because it bring funk and elements that you're just like you can't do that. It's not like teachers did not teach you that you cannot do that. You can. It's just it brings something that it's cool to hear, but I'm sure that musician that listen to the band are like, wow, I want to try to recreate that. There's fun riff, there's something in it.
hmm Yeah, so our guitarist Gary, he excuse me, he plays some classical guitar and some jazz guitar and metal. But yeah, he's got a really, really eclectic taste. And you know, he would always like bring this kind of like jazz influence, like you know, into the band and stuff, and have these really weird chord progressions, and it's got a very distinctive style of soloing that I think now you can hear it when it goes into the metal. It's not like this classic metal kind of thing. It's this really, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of he's got a very distinct solo style. You can hear it in our single Flinch. He had a solo in that one, and a lot of the sort of riff ideas, the rhythmical riff ideas, come from him as well. He's really into Meshuggah, and that kind of polyrhythmic sort of stuff is really at the core of what we have as well. So yeah, we just really like to combine interesting ideas into each song. Why not have fun and see what happens?
Yeah, and I think it's important. There's people that take metal very seriously. I think it's important to take the music seriously. Maybe not yourself too seriously, but having fun, it's the main thing, you know? I know it's a
Right.
quest for perfections, but it's a concept that doesn't exist. It's kind of surreal that we're trying to find that. And sometimes we don't live the present moment because, oh, fuck, I made a mistake. And you're just stuck in that moment in the past and not living what's happening. And most of the time people don't even realize when musician made mistakes. And if you don't stop the songs and they just let it go. And and most of them like have a couple of beers, there's some talking, so with the noise and everything, it's just an element that show that it's human behind those instruments and creating those music.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the beauty of creating your own music as well, is that it doesn't have to be perfect. Um, it doesn't have to fit into something, and what goes on the record is not necessarily what has to be played live. I always think that's really important, that it doesn't need to be exactly the same. And actually, the live element is kind of fun because there is that danger element of maybe I play it a little bit differently. Maybe I'll try something, go for something. And I just think that's kind of exciting. That's why live music is so important. But yeah, we like to jazz things up a little bit and sometimes do something a little bit different. But most of the time, we're definitely like staying to the same beat, and we're playing to click, and we're very like, conformed in that way. But when we get to live, yeah, it's just a chance for us to sort of play with the songs a little bit. And I think that's why, when people say, what do? You don't say I work music. You say I play music, right? It's play. The whole thing is supposed to be play. So I think that element needs to be in music. Otherwise, why did you start music in the first place? If it wasn't to be for fun and it wasn't to be creative and play and just let things go a little bit, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's why does it have to be perfect?
It's such an interesting point, and it's the same with sports. It's a game, but we lost ourselves in the game because of ego, whatever. You want to prove something to somebody, but at the end, it doesn't serve the game. I think that having fun serves the game, and that's when everybody creates something magical. And yeah, I
Mhm.
think music is a living thing, and you're just like the expression of that energy, of that vibration. After all, is just vibration. And creating with everybody, that's work for that's helped the songs. And it's always about the songs and the music at the end. So I don't get the ego thing and everything, because without the songs you're nobody.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean the songs are at the core of everything, and yeah, I mean like the right song can change everything. It can change the way you feel, it can change your consciousness, it can change the energy in the room, it can give you the way. It's just music is that powerful. It's such an honor to write it, I feel like so lucky to be writing not just music, but really weird music, really strange progressive music that's kind of, challenging. Like that's what I feel really lucky to be able to do, definitely.
I love it because it's not musically the same, but it reminded me when I heard Typo Negative the first time. I was like, you can do that in metal. It worked, and it fucking worked. It create a whole another category of metal, which is way more like, it's weird to say, but sensual. And with there's kind of not environment around that. There's something that bring, like I said, maybe the vibration or whatever that you just stuck, and it kind of hypnotize you. It's an adventure listening to the music, your music.
Definitely, like my favorite bands are definitely the word you said, hypnotizing. It's bands that draw you in. Those are my favorite types of bands. Bands like Gojira, like it took me a really, really long time to really get into them and appreciate them, but it's like falling in love really slowly, over time, and you realize something is so amazing. It sometimes takes a long time to appreciate it. It was the same for me with Opeth as well. Like I love Opeth now. They're probably like one of my favorite bands, and we're on the same label now. I can't believe it. It's like a dream come true. But we all love Opeth in Crimson Veil, like huge influence. Um, so it's just bands that really make you kind of stop in your tracks and listen and then listen again and then have to uncover what's going on. Those are the bands that we really admire, and those are the bands that we would like to try and sound like, we would like to align ourselves with. I mean, just want to create music that grows over time rather than just, gets your attention, then it's gone. It's a band that you really take time to listen to, and there's many layers and many things to it. I think music like that really excites me.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between pop and underground music and metal. Is that
Mm,
pop is McDonald. You eat it, it's fucking good, but then you don't
yeah,
want to eat that every day. But metal, it's
yeah,
that special restaurant when you wait
yeah,
for a month and you listen to it at right moment, right time. There's something more special about it, and it grow in you and it stay in you. Just something that you consume
yeah,
and then it's done. It's sad that the younger generation didn't get that because of the stream and everything, but still I think they get it when they grow up, and we have more kids in the scene and new band, and it's pretty cool. But you're right, I think it's another interesting point.
yeah. I guess like if pop's McDonald's, then metal is like the really spicy like fusion restaurant at the end of the road that you're like, should we go there? I'm not sure. I want to be
I almost
challenged.
died
Let's do
there
it, let's
last
go in.
time.
Come on. Give me all
The
the
new
chili.
album is amazing. I mean it. I listened to it a couple of times, and it's really, like you said, it grow in you, and it's something that I will definitely fall in love with more and more, and listen to it. And so, how was the process of creating around that records? And did the pandemic or anything influence the writing or the release time?
Yeah, totally. It was definitely the pandemic. At the time we weren't Crimson Veil, we were at this earlier project that I was talking about called Bird Eats Baby. And really the pandemic, as you know, as all the musicians out there know, kind of tore everything apart and just put a massive pause on the whole industry. And it was quite a dark time, but it was quite a creative time for me. It was an opportunity to go inside my house for once and just be at home and write and write and write. And it was pretty weird. Like I was really introverted during the pandemic, and I started just writing some very, very strange kind of music, but I got quite bored. Do you know what I mean? And started writing kind of very strange, weird tunes. And to be honest, I kind of thought the band was over. And we were like, I don't think we're going to tour again. Everything's sort of fallen through. This is not, I can't go back now. It's just, everything went wrong. And it wasn't just the pandemic. In the UK, we had Brexit and all of this horrific stuff with our freedom of movement got cancelled. And it was just a nightmare, and it just made everything so much harder. And we were always touring in Europe, and that was our place, and we just felt so cut off from that. And I was like, I don't think we can do this anymore. The band is finished, essentially. So I was like, why don't we just write some music just for fun? Why don't we just, write some music that we want to make just for fun? Let's write some crazy tune. I don't care anymore. I just want to write really wild music with how I'm feeling. And I sat down at this piano and started writing this little five note motif that was crossing with my hands, and and I just thought, you know what, let's start writing in some weird time signatures. Maybe we could build this song which starts in one time signature and then it moves to another thing and then it evolves to another thing and then another thing. And the idea just got really, really crazy. And I took it between one of the lockdowns, I took it to Anna in London, the drummer, and said to her, I have this idea, I've got this song, I want to call it Hex, and I want it to be all like number based. So it starts with this one motif and then grows into another thing, and it becomes this insane, like chaotic kind of masterpiece of rhythms. And she was like, hold my beer, I got this. And, I was so happy because she was totally like geeking out with me on this. And we pieced this song together and it was just utterly insane. And that's really where the album was born and where the concept and where everything started with was this one song of just trying to make this really insane song that kind of grew out of this dark space. And that was the title track Hex, and then all of the other songs kind of birthed from that idea. Then we had the sound and the song, and that song was the one that once we put it out under the old band, we actually got picked up by Raining Phoenix, our label now. It was the thing that put us on the map. So out of all of that pandemic thing, when we thought everything was finished, that one song came out of it and everything changed. So it was kind of really magical for us what happened with that. But that's how it started.
It's crazy. It's taking something negative and change it into something positive, and it's kind of therapy also for every one of you. And it's cool that you didn't
Definitely.
stop working music, and then you just let that flow go, and it create that new project. And I think it's good for everybody, the listener, for you, and it's a win-win situation. And like you said, it was a really dark time, so changing that into something positive, it's really pretty cool.
Thanks. Yeah, it felt like that. Yeah.
So with the release, how's gonna be the rest of 2024 and maybe the beginning of 2025? And of course, you see me coming. Is there any chance to see that project around Quebec and Canada?
Oh wow, Canada, we'd love to. That would be amazing. Yeah, I think so the album's out on September the 20th, and then when that happens, we can go on tour. We've got a few things coming up, but we're just not 100% confirmed on anything yet. So I don't have any dates to give you, but we would love to get back out, to do the worldwide tours again. We did tour America before under the old project. I'd love to tour Canada. That would be fantastic. So yeah, like let's make it happen. I think if all of this stuff can happen, then that can surely happen as well. So hopefully, I think 2025 is going to be a really big year for us with touring. I think once the album's out and people start to hear about this new project, hopefully, the tours will come, and 2025 will be the year that we really hit the road.
Of course, and bookers write them festival. We want them everywhere. It's such a rad project, and what's the best way if people have a music budget and want to, of course, encourage the band? What's the best way to do it?
If you want to get in touch with us or to book us, or
Buy merch.
oh yeah. So, yeah, of course. So yeah, our record's on sale now, I believe. You can pre-order it from Raining Phoenix. It's red. We've got some very sexy red vinyl, I believe, and some CDs, and we have some t-shirts. And yeah, if you want to support us, like come out and see our shows when they're booked and come and say hello to us. We're actually quite friendly and very geeky. So if you like time signatures and weird stuff, then come and say hello and do support us. We love it.
It's amazing. We were talking about being geek, but the color of vinyl now, it's crazy, man. I didn't know that there was that amount of color in the world.
It's amazing, right? So much vinyl. So cool.
Yeah. Yeah, red blood, red orange, red sanguine, red.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite a lot. Yeah.
Shout out to
Crimson,
all the collectors. A lot of people collect all the colors.
Yeah, yeah, right.
It's way better than heroin.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'd say it's a slightly better habit, yeah.
And people, if you don't have music budget, if you don't have time, it's rough time. We get it. It's everywhere, every platform. It's gonna be available. Go listen to it. Broke those algorithm with Crimson Veil because it's a great project. And of course, we're gonna wait in Quebec, Canada. And have fun with the release. Have fun with the rest of the band. Say hi to everybody. And thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This has been really amazing, and I hope to see you in Canada sometime soon.
Hell yeah. And make sure we're going to do a
Oh, yeah.
huge special on the band. Of course, I'm going to send all the details to Barbara. And thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.